People are going to buy your services because they're buying you. And there will never be competition because now you're in your authentic seat, sharing your true gifts, and nobody can compete with that.
Good evening, good day, good morning to you, whoever and wherever you are. My name is Oliver Perry, and today I've got a special guest, a husband, a family man, a entrepreneur of many different ways, a man who's transitioned out of the Air Force after doing F-16 aviation, and now he is the vet boss, the man who's actually helping people to find their way out of the military and transition into their dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Elijah Best. Elijah, how are you, sir?
Man, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm feeling great.
Fantastic, man. The pleasure's all mine. I'm glad you were able to make it. I know we've hit and miss the last couple times we tried, but we're here now, and I want to make sure your message gets out. So let's just jump right in. Let's talk about, so you got some stuff around you right now, and I want to make sure that we start this off right. And I think the best way to do that is to actually talk about Vet Boss, your M.E.P.S, and how you go about that process. So I'm going to leave it to you.
All right, first and foremost, I'm going to give a warning. If you're listening to this and you stop listening, you're going to miss out on a lot of value because I'm not going to pitch anything. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to act like Elijah Best 3 years ago is listening to this, and I'm just going to dump this out and make it as direct as possible.
Let's
Okay?
go. I like it.
Here's the entrepreneurial journey right here. It starts off with you wanting to make a lot of money most of the time. It also may start off as you got disrespected maybe when you were a kid. And it could also start as you want to help out your family because they don't have as much money as you wish they did. And you're kind of like a dorky version of Superman getting pushed around a lot. And you had enough. And the way to solve that is by making a lot of money. But here's the problem with that. All right. You're going to end up first of all, it's going to be very painful if you don't find someone to help you figure out how to make a lot of money. But the problem is where you're at, what you think makes a lot of money is not what makes a lot of money. So you're going to buy the wrong programs if you start getting into programs. You're going to start getting attracted to cars and flashy things because that's quote unquote common sense because that means that they have money, right? But from my perspective now, you see that means they're really, really good at marketing these flashy things. And that means that they're probably not developing their product a lot. But my point is, you're going to realize that it wasn't all about the money. It was about getting happy. But you also know that you need a lot of money to be happy. So that's when you're like, now I'm making money. Now I'm more busy than I was when I had a job. I have more stress because it's all up to me. This entrepreneur thing is not what I thought it was going to be. But here's the problem. It has to be attached to your true life purpose. So how many times do we look in the mirror and we're like, who am I? Why am I here? You're also trying to answer this question probably. So what the heck do you do? In 2021, we are very blessed because we have social media. So now we know that we have access to thousands of people. But okay, how do you do that? All right, so Facebook is a thing. But here are the elements. When I talk about M.E.P.S, these are the elements that you need to have a six-figure business. I'm going to make it so simple. You need to have leads coming in. You need to have a sales process. You need to have a freaking good product. And here's the most important one. You got to work on yourself. So for all of the people who are listening to this that are into hip hop, I might butcher this a little bit, but there's like 5 elements to hip hop. You got breaking, you got rapping, you got DJing, and then there's one that I'm not hitting right now. But the 5th element, it's like the mysterious element. It's called knowledge of self, right? So you could be a good rapper, but if you don't have knowledge of self, you're actually probably not a good rapper, right? So it's the same thing with the business. If you're trying to be other people, especially in 2021, because we know this is so scary to start a business because everybody on YouTube, Facebook, and everybody's already doing everything. That's what it seems like.
That's a fact.
But if you get knowledge of yourself and you learn how to market yourself, assuming that you have leads coming in and you know how to do sales. Well, no, you have a sales process. People are going to buy your services because they're buying you. And there will never be competition because now you're in your authentic seat, sharing your true gifts, and nobody can compete with that. And then that's how
Absolutely.
you're just gonna be able to be, top of your market. So the question is now, and then I'll kick it back to Oliver. But the question is now, what can you sell? And so this is what I went through. You know, there's an incredible influencer right now. His name is Donnell Jones. You know, he's a good, pretty good influencer. And in one video he said every man should have a trade.
Ooh.
So I believed in that, right? But the problem was I didn't want to do taxes. He helps people learn how to do taxes for people in their family. And I didn't want to do taxes because taxes to me, just personally, they're just boring for me to create a business around that. I'm going to be drained because I don't care about that, just personally. So I would say you want to figure out what you love doing, find a big problem in that market, and provide a solution. Now, what I still do to this day is I always have a coach. So don't try to figure it out on your own. Pay somebody who has the answers and pay them to give it to you. And if you don't have the money, great, because now you have to become a better person by making the money to be able to pay them. Because by learning how to save, by saying I'm going to take a job, whether that's sales commission or whatever it is, and figuring out how to come up with that money, that's going to make you more of a man anyway. And then you pay them to get you the answers. So if you do that, you figure out, and then this is how you figure out if it's a good program. Because I said the problem is you're not going to know what program to buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what you do, and this is how you'll throw off 99% of the people. Say, how do you generate leads? If someone tries to get you into an MLM, just be like, okay, where did the leads come from? And then they're all going to be like, because that's how they're not making money.
Right.
And the people that are on top, because there's always someone making money, ask them how they get leads. Are they doing Facebook? Do they have 10K a month to put into Facebook ads that you're not going to be able to have? Ask them, how are you getting your leads? And then after that, say, what is the sales process to close them or to enroll them? And then this is how you really test them. They're not going to have those two answers. But if they do, then say, what is the enrollment rate? Like, what is the percentages of people? How many people do you have to talk to until someone says yes?
Right.
If they don't have any of these things, they don't have a business. And then here's another test. Do you like their product? If you feel iffy about the product's going to suck. So don't try to sell something that sucks. Sell something that you really like, that you want to use for yourself. And then there's the big one. At the end of the day, if you're battling demons, you're going to have to fight them because they're all going to be exposed in your business. People are not going to know what demons you have in your business unless it's something like super obvious. But at the end of the day, if you can't, like, let's say, for example, you were bullied, so you're insecure, right? That's going to show up in your business if you don't have self-confidence. So at the end of the day, that doesn't mean don't start, because a business helps you build these things. But don't be fooled and think that you can build a business and escape mastering yourself. Because it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing. If you have a 9 to 5, you're in the military, you're a father, you're a cousin, sister, mother. You have to be able to be your best self, because you were put here to be a great brother, to be a great cousin, to be a great father. So you want to master that anyway. But if and when you do, now you are a CEO, you are a boss. A boss means that, I have employees that say, thank you, I'm able to buy a house now. That is what being a boss also is. It's not just, I'm a boss, I can tell people what to do. It's you've mastered yourself to the point to where people can lean on you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't lean on yourself, you got work to do.
Right.
You lean on the Lord until you can start leaning on yourself.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's a process. So my major point in that is, don't think that making money is going to allow you to escape mastering yourself. And don't think that making money is going to make you turn into like some kind of, on TV, they perpetuate this thing. Like, if you make a whole bunch of money, you're going to turn into like an alcoholic or a drug addict or something like that. That used to be one of my fears, at least. So that's a fear I had. What I realized is, like, you can't make money unless you have super good discipline anyway. So by the time you make it up there, you probably like me, where you don't even indulge in those things. Like, I don't even watch TV. And the thing is, I have fun not watching TV. It's not like I'm over here like, what I watch TV is like, I have fun with other things now because I had to grow. So, just like when you're a kid, and I'll kind of end it on this, kind of like when you're young, you may want to I don't know, maybe go to the theme park every weekend. But when you're older, it's just not what you're trying to do. It's the same thing in business. Like, you know, you want to improve your business to get more sales, to help your clients, to help your employees, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's how I would break it down in a nutshell.
No, that's a really good breakdown. I think that provided quite a bit of value and quite a bit of context as well. I think what's really interesting is, just like you said, you grow out of things, and I think the world has continually perpetuated the idea as, hey, you do this, you got to stop doing that for you to be successful. When that's not the case, it's all about, like you said, self-awareness. If you sit down and play a video game, you're going to stay on there for 5 hours. Okay, I can spend 30 minutes and I've got to get off or not do it at all. One or two is going to work, right? So you go into it knowing, okay, if I sit down and I play for a half an hour, my alarm goes off, I have to be disciplined enough to get up and go do something else. Otherwise, I'll be here all day. But it's just like you said, it's a self-awareness thing. And self-awareness, I think, is super important in business, let alone entrepreneurship, and in the military, for that matter. It can help you there as well. So with that in mind, self-awareness, I think what also provides people value is understanding the context of where you come from. Like, you've been through this process yourself. You've actually used the same system for yourself. How did that process go? Because you didn't just have M.E.P.S off the top of your head at start. You literally went through this entire process yourself, right?
Yes. Thank you for asking, man. So I got out of the Air Force and I moved into my mom's house. So now imagine how awkward this is. I go back, I'm like, what, 24?
Yeah.
And now I'm in my same bedroom with my Dragon Ball Z posters.
Love it. Love it.
Poster my friend gave me, there's no I in drunk. I'm just like, oh, man. I'm in the same room. I eventually had one day, I just took the posters down. I left Goku up. I'm not even going to lie one bit.
I can't take Goku down, man. You gotta leave him be. Gotta leave him alone.
I had to leave him alone. The point is, I joined a program. I invested about 4 to 6K that I did not have. Like, right. I want you guys to know, I did not have, I don't know how, it was like a monthly plan. So I was like, on the ramen diet for real. And so I thought, no worries. I'm going to spend this much money a month and have barely any left off because I'm going to make 30K a month right overnight. Like, nobody buys these, because this was in 2016. So I'm pretty sure they're still there. But at this time, you would see people that would have these ads that are like, do you want to make all this money from your home? And I was like, I'm going to be the guy who buys this thing and show everyone that it works. Right. And so, I had a friend who was knocking on doors and he was like, oh, bro, like I help companies make so much money. I'm going to get you all these leads. So my point is, this is how I put M.E.P.S together by failing for so many years. The first program I bought taught me how to do SEO, which, if you don't know what that is, you learn how to rank websites on Google, right? So you go to a pizza man or a lawyer and you say, hey, I could put your business on the first page of Google. But what you don't know is you only have one letter out of M.E.P.S, which is the product. So cool, I can rank websites now. Is money just going to fall out of the sky like I thought it was? No. I have to sell it now. It blew my mind.
Right.
Blew my mind. So then I was like, okay, crap. All right, I'm not going to give up. Now, mind you, I'm living at my mom's. This is humiliating. I got out of the Air Force, and I'm living with my mom. So everyone in high school, I'm bumping into them in the grocery store, and they're like, oh, what are you up to? And I'm like, don't ask me that.
Oh, that's tough. Tough.
Man. It was humiliating. So I was like, all right, I got to learn sales. So I watched Wolf of Wall Street, saw Jordan Belfort. I took his program. And he's now teaching me how to do things like, everybody is probably going to feel manipulated and want to do this right now. I'm going to do it on purpose. He would do things like, when he would end a sentence, he would end it like this, or he would more so be like, when you go here, and by inflicting your tone, the person would feel inquired to be like, yeah. And then the point is, if you say like, yeah, like 3 times, you just kind of feel like you have to stay on the same page with that person and keep agreeing. So I was taught how to do manipulative sales tactics. Right. And I thought it was going to work. I was like, oh, I figured out sales now. I'm going to be a millionaire now. I'm going to make 30K a month. I'm going to move out of my mom's. And then what I learned was I didn't have a sales process. I just learned some sales tactics. And then where are my leads going to come from? So how am I going to get people to even talk to in the first place? So that's a big moment, because now I had to pay like another 6K or something to get another program, right? And mind you, I'm trying to have a wedding. You know, I keep saying, wait, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it for almost 4 years.
Right.
This is horrible. So so eventually I got a job. I ran out of money. I got a job. I got a sales job. Now I'm knocking on doors. Could you imagine living at your mom's house? You're knocking on doors. And the worst part was people that were 3 years younger than me in high school. So when I was like a senior, they were like a freshman. They're doing, excuse me, but like DRUGS, you know, if there's kids around, they're doing bad things. I'm at the sales meetings and like this guy's girlfriend's on his lap and they're kissing at work during the meeting.
My God.
There's people with pizza stains on their uniform and then with the sports coat over it. Like that's going to make a difference. And then the sports coat is like so wrinkled. And I'm next to these people. I came there with my suit and I said, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur. And they were like, why are you here? Like, what are you in an MLM or something? Like a multi-level doing a pyramid scheme? Like what kind of business do you own that you're here? And they're like, yeah, you can have the job. And I started at $300 a week knocking on doors. So people would answer the door and they'd be like, no, slam the door in my face. No, slam the door in my face. And I'm watching young people that own these beautiful homes. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to live with my mom anymore. So I started completely at the bottom. But here's what I learned though. All the neighborhoods that were lower income treated me worse. The neighborhoods that were nicer treated me better. And that really messed with my head.
Wow.
I was like, you mean to tell me? Yeah.
Yeah. So the people who were making the lower income were more difficult to deal with than the people that were making a higher income.
Yeah, to be transparent, it'd be more like don't knock on my door. Like don't knock on my house door. I got a house.
Wow. Why do you think that? What do you think that was? Because I'm curious. Because I know people who've done the door knocking thing, and the door knocking thing is tough. Sales in general is tough, and I know in your, as you're saying it, what you're saying to the audience is, hey, listen, there's more to it than just understanding the techniques. Because the techniques absolutely can be manipulative as long as you're using them the incorrect way. But when you're using the correct way, they're not really manipulative. But either way, it's still, by its nature, you have to manipulate the situation to get to where you want to go. But with doing that physically and in somebody's presence, and then having that mindset, because you're going through all this stuff, to sit down with these people, or not to try and sit down. They're not even opening the door like you said.
Yeah.
What do you think was that? What would you think that was that difference that was causing the people who were of a lower income versus a higher income to treat you that way? Or did you ever figure that out?
I did. And here's the truth, the mind-blowing truth. People who make more money develop themselves more. And that's why they make more money. And that's how, if you develop yourself more, you're going to be more respectful. Right. Because that's like, we expect the president to be a respectful, kind human being. He's more, we understand he's more developed. So just if you just magnifying that scale, someone who's making 400K is typically more developed than someone who's making 40K, unfortunately. And this is not what we want to believe, because here's the sickness that we have in our minds. At the 40K level, you have a belief that you're a victim and you're not really in control, and things just happen. Like cause and effect is not real, and that things just randomly happen to people. Some people are lucky, some people are not lucky. So you would never have the self-awareness that maybe you're disrespectful, spiteful, you're jealous, gossip, a lot of these things. But because if you put a white dot on white paper, you see nothing. So if you're making 40K a year, and you're surrounded by everyone else who's at the same income level, their behaviors are the same as yours. So you don't see yours as standing out because you're comparing yourself to worse people than you.
Right.
But if you were to go into a room and everybody's making $500,000, maybe you would find that you're disrespectful.
Wow.
And so most people that are around that income never could even imagine that it's them.
Right.
So these were things I had to learn, because the owner, he liked what I did. And I'll kind of explain why later, because there's jewels that people could take from that. So I ended up working with the owner. And there were moments where I had to check myself. Like he would look at my phone and see how many notifications I had. And he'd be like, I don't know how you do that, man. You know what I mean? You would just be genuinely like, how do you do that? And
Right.
so I realized like he's the owner because he's on top of his notifications. He's responding. But around me, my notifications were better than like people said that I was on point. All my friends were like, man, you're so disciplined.
Right.
But they're not at where I want to be.
It's a different level.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
So the
Okay.
people who made like 400K, the way they would treat you normally is like, either, come on, man, you guys really have been here like way too many times. I got a baby. Like, can you guys take me off the list? You know what I mean? Or they would be like, do you want some water? Like,
Right.
it's pretty hot out here. You know, I was just like, whoa.
Right.
So, yeah.
Interesting. That's I mean, that, if you really think about it, though, that makes sense because, like you said, them being aware of themselves, they understand that hey, they haven't always been at that level. Whereas when you're on that level, it's hard to see where you could go. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So people climb mountains all the time, but it's harder to see the top of the mountain when you're at the very bottom or you're near to the bottom. When you're at the top, you could see the top, so you're looking back down and you're like, oh, okay, I see Elijah's coming up. Let me find out. Maybe maybe there's something I can do to assist, or maybe there's something that I can do to make it more comfortable, or let me not make it harder on him by taking this hook out of this rock. I'm gonna leave it there. That kind of thing. So that actually honestly makes sense. Here's the burning question for me with you though. With you made that transition from out of the military into straight into entrepreneurship, and you dove in deep because you were taking the training courses and all the stuff, and you were putting up money that you didn't have. What was in your mind the process that got you from Air Force aviation guy, avionics guy to entrepreneurship? Because and then putting up money that you didn't have, because all that there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of pieces in there that I think that's super valuable that people may not be paying attention to.
Glad you asked this too. I would say it's my inner identity.
Okay.
So I had a vision of who, and pay attention, please, if you're listening. I had a vision of myself, of who I was. And so when people did not treat me in congruency with that, I could not have it. It was death to me. It was war. There's no option because of the identity I saw myself as. I could not tolerate where I was. So no matter how hard it was, I was going to figure it out. We get our lowest level of what we will tolerate. And what we will tolerate is attached to our self-identity. So if you see yourself as someone who's stupid, you will allow people to treat you stupid.
Right.
If you see yourself as someone who's so highly intelligent and people are treating you like you're stupid, you're going to defend yourself. So I almost feel like it's dangerous to say I was born with something, but if I could say I was born with anything, it was the belief that I was great. But you can change your self-identity. I was not born with skills. I would, in math, I used to cry because I couldn't figure, like I hated math. Like in the Air Force, I was treated like I was dumb a lot of the times. But it was like the identity that I had for myself, I would never tolerate that. So I would say, for example, when I got out of the Air Force, this is perfect because this shows how anyone can change. I saw myself as an introvert. So that's why I moved in with my mom and started an online business to rank websites because I thought I would make money without having to talk to people.
Oh, I want to make sure as we continue this. So what Elijah's talking about, SEO, is search engine optimization. Okay.
Yes.
Keep going.
Thank you. Absolutely.
No worries.
So,
I'm going to be able to Google that.
Yeah, for sure. So, I didn't want to talk to anyone. Right. So when I couldn't get my business successful and I had to accept that the only way to make money is to talk to people, I then told myself that I was a salesperson, although I didn't want to be. And so my belief that I was a salesperson before I became a salesperson made me really good at sales to where I was knocking on doors. They promoted me to sales in 2 weeks.
Wow.
The belief alone of I'm a salesperson.
Right.
That's what mattered. But if I came in there like, oh, I'm bad at sales, I'm going to create that experience. So if someone is listening to this and they want to make changes right away, make yourself, make who you want to be the next year your superhero, and then go after, start chasing that version of yourself, create that vision, and ask yourself, okay, this is how I see myself in a year. How would this person think? What would this person do? How would this person's posture be? What decision would he make right now? And if
Right.
you just keep following that and acting on that, you will be amazed at where your life turns out in a couple of years.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, just knowing, like you said, where you came from, you were living in mom's house and you were doing all these things, and the fact that self-awareness is what took you out of there, and that you literally put into action some things that people say. Because I follow a rule that I never say try. Try does not exist in my household, and I
That's
do
good.
it because it's just like I said, it's a mental thing. I need
Yeah.
my family to understand there is no try. I'm not gonna try to get to 625 doors as my goal for the next 5 years before I
Yeah.
retire. It's I'm getting to 625 doors. So because I think it's gonna happen, it's going to happen. I'm literally, like you said, like, well, not just you, but many others will say manifestation, or just speaking it into existence. It's not just speaking it into existence in the future, it's speaking it into existence right now, therefore affecting how you act and how you move. So I think that that's absolutely accurate with what you said just now, is in, you changing yourself to be that person you wanted to be. And with that said, so there are although a few common pitfalls that people run into all the time.
Yeah.
And I know because you worked in the transition, that thought process of the transition from left to right. What are the transition pitfalls that you see people make when they're coming from the military background, the military experience, or even government experience to, entrepreneurship? Because we're not in the military, we're very staccato, right?
Yeah.
Once you're an entrepreneur, you're on your own. So that transition's got to be difficult. What mistakes have you seen people make?
Yes. And right before I get to that answer, I want to really isolate a jewel that you dropped.
Of course, please.
Oliver said that when you're thinking away about the future, what it does is it makes you act away right now. So what I said is, a lot of times the people who are on their way up, right, but they're lower currently and they're trying to get up there, they have the disease of either dwelling on the future or reflecting on the past. And that's what they're doing all day. You're either dwelling on the future or reflecting on the
Reflecting on the
past
past.
all day. And what you're missing is the moment. The action that you take in the moment is what creates your future. So if you use the present, which is a gift, pondering on the past or the future, you're going to miss taking the action in the moment that's going to create the future. So yes, but what makes thinking, because I know there's always like one person who's like, thinking about the future and positivity doesn't do anything. I get it. But the point is, by thinking positively, you're gonna make the best out of the moment you're in, because the actions you take are based on the state that you're in. If you're sad, you're gonna be moping around all day. But if you're enthusiastic and passionate, all the actions you're doing in the present moment are gonna be powerful because of the type of things you're gonna be doing. So it's going to change the course of your future. So if you're walking around sulking and negative, you're not going to be taking great action. You're going to be negative to people. You're not going to be, if someone passes you when you're in a negative state, you might say something that may not want to connect you to that person, that if you were in a positive mood, they'd be like, man, this person's energy is good. Let me hook them up with such and such.
Right.
So anyway, that being said, to answer your question, the pitfalls of leaving the military, this is one that is not really talked about, but I'm starting to see it as being someone in my industry and talking to a lot of people. When we get out of the military, we're hard on ourselves, man. I don't know what's up with that.
Brother, yeah. I actually sat in a room the other day in Clubhouse and heard a gentleman talk about the rates of suicide jumping from military members after they get out the military, because we're no longer, like we're no longer in that system. We know what to wear when we wake up in the morning. When you get out, that uniform you don't got to put that on no more.
Yeah, man, that sucks.
So yeah, it's wild. But please continue.
Yeah, no, I mean, you hit on the nail, because the reason why it sucked for me is I was like, yeah, you mean to tell me I don't know how to dress? I would have never, like, it's just clothes. Like, who would have? You know what I mean? I thought it was just
Yep.
me, but then one of the people we hired, he was transitioned out of the army, and he was experiencing the same stuff. It just
Mm-hmm.
came up in conversation. I'm like, who would have ever thought? Like you hear when people transition, there's some stuff, but no, literally, I would say you beat yourself up too much. So I gained weight when I transitioned. I ended up making it. Right now, I'm about 200, and I'm on my heavy side. Right.
Okay.
At the time when I was living with my mom, I was 250. Yep.
Wow.
So, and what was I doing? My internal, I want you guys to listen to this. My internal talk was so negative, and we don't realize that that's a thing. So the words we say in our mind are like coding. We're literally coding how we act and how we go about our lives. So if we're talking negatively in our head, that stuff counts. That stuff matters. Just
Wow.
we're in a time period where we feel like if it can't be touched, it doesn't exist. We know gravity exists, but
Right.
we don't scientifically talk about how negative thinking, whether you're gossiping about someone else or being hard on yourself, how that destroys you. No one talks about it. So I'd say when you get out of the military, without a doubt, probably wouldn't have expected this answer, but I guarantee you, if you're talking negatively, severely, it's going to screw you up. So one of the best things you could do is be light on yourself, be easy on yourself. Like, okay, I'm transitioning. This is something that a lot of people don't go through. I don't have much guidance on this. I'm going to have to figure it out. And if you can at least be kind to yourself, that'd be great. Um, if you need unemployment, seek unemployment. You are transitioning out of your job. There's unemployment opportunities. So you can get a couple $100 a week so you can get on your feet and figure it out. As
Yeah.
veterans, we're scared of using. It's so weird.
It's
We
pride.
we yeah, we're in a culture to where we want to enforce manliness, so we don't want to go to the doctors and stuff like that. But why make it harder on yourself than you need to? I mean,
Right.
I'm sure there's gonna be like one or two people that disagree, but at the end of the day, especially if you're a man, I mean, even more so as a woman, but let me just speak on the man side of it. If you're a man, chances are there's at least one person counting on you to figure it out, or three people looking up to you. So if you could take some extra money and try to figure it out with that help, it's there for you.
Right.
So seek that help, and then this is going to sound counterintuitive. Don't waste your time with benefits that are not in line with your big goal. So have a vision,
Ooh.
and
Ooh.
if your vision is to do something, don't just start using benefits just because they're benefits, because you're just going to waste your time. So
Let's
if
so let me
yeah
let's dive because I know we're gonna have to wrap up soon, but
yeah
I can't pass this up because that's a huge thing, and I don't think it hasn't crossed my mind until just now. But like the thought process is just like you said, if you have benefits, use your benefits, right? But use it towards the goal you want to get to. Don't take your VA loan and go buy a property to invest if you don't plan on invest. It's okay to go and buy a property for yourself and your family. Yes, you can find ways to make money for you, sure. But if your end goal isn't to have $625 for like it is for me, there's no point for you to use the VA for something you don't intend on doing. It makes no sense. You use it for your own personal use, that's what it was meant for. But if you go and use it for investing and you're not interested in investing, it's going to go down the drain because you don't care about that particular topic. So, use your GI Bill to go and take and get whatever education, sure. But make sure it's that education for what you want to get to. You want to be a doctor? Okay, cool. Use it, go get your doctorate. You want to be a street sweeper? Cool. Use it, go get a street sweeper. Or find a grant that's going to allow you to be a street sweeper. But I wanted to make sure I hit that while we're talking, while you were going through it, Elijah, is because people do that constantly. They just use something to use it. The PPP loan is a perfect example. Everybody's like, "Oh, PPP loan, cool." Now ask how many people are struggling with trying to figure out how to pay back the PPP loan because they didn't understand the rules of the game and they didn't use it for the purposes it was made for. It's all right. I'm off my soapbox.
no,
Go
I'm
ahead.
so glad you touched on it. I'm so glad you touched on it, man, because that's the shiny object syndrome
Yep.
right there.
100.
So
Percent
and here's me. I'm gonna be that NCO for you. Because I had someone in my course. He said he was an officer, spec ops, and he said, "Man, I'm glad Elijah was that NCO for me," and just said
Right.
the truth. Remember what I said? If you want to be successful, you have to be self-reliant, and you have to take 100% accountability for everything you have in your life. So here's the thing: do not go to school to buy time because that's BS. Give yourself a week or a month to figure it out and just get it done. Make a plan and go after the plan. So do not use benefits to buy time or just to say, oh, I'm going to school, just so you have a good answer. You will waste the years of your life and you will have to pay for that. So just give yourself a week, figure it out, make a plan. And guess what? If you think that's hard, I'm going to say this: 410-404-6444. Call me. Now you have no excuse.
Let's go. Let's go, Elijah. Let's go, Elijah.
So, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, Elijah. I know we're probably going to have to do this again because there's a lot of stuff that I know I wanted to get to with you. And you and I have talked before this. And God willing, I look forward to building a relationship with you as well, is in regards to, just more examples. We could talk about Samantha, who's on that board behind you, and the amazing things that Sam did. And I know, though, we have a limit on time, at least for the moment. So let's get to the segments. In our segments, we like to go over one called Troop to Task. And Troop to Task, as you know, Elijah, is you giving the troop who's listening one task they can go and succeed with, or one thing they can do to push themselves forward. So I'm going to give the floor to you to give them that one thing.
Create a vision and go after it.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And he gave you your number. He gave you his number. So if you can't figure out what that is, call him and he'll help you figure it out. Number the next segment and the very last segment is situational awareness. Elijah, give them something that they can read, something they can look into, something they can do to make themselves self-aware, not just self-aware, because maybe that's actually a lead-in, but to make themselves aware of what's happening around them and how they can take themselves forward.
Think and Grow Rich.
Ooh, that's a good one. I say that every episode, but it's still a good one. Yeah, Think and Grow Rich is a really good book. So, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you coming on. Elijah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, man, for being so patient and coming on, man. I'm definitely looking forward. We're definitely got to stay in touch. I'll definitely have to get you to save my phone number. I'll get in contact with you. We'll do this again. But in the meantime, let's drop. I want to make sure I gave you the floor so you can drop all your contact info so whoever's looking for that transition guidance can get after you.
Absolutely. Go to Facebook, type in vet space boss. We have a group. We'll let you in. It's private, but we'll let you in for free. And I share all these tips there. And then I've got to say, man, I really have to share my gratitude for the people in that group. They're all very positive. So one of the hard parts about entrepreneurship is not having a great environment. So if you're seeking that environment, go ahead and join that group. And you could always reach out to me to answer any questions. I'm not too big. I'm not too high up for you. I just really want to help. So if you need some help or guidance, just reach out to me. Hit me up on Facebook. Go to Vet Boss, and we'll make it happen.
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Oliver Perry. You can reach me at The Oliver Perry on IG, at The Oliver Perry on Facebook, The Oliver Perry 38 on TikTok, and The Oliver Perry on Twitter. I'm on a lot of platforms. But if you need me, please, by all means, shoot me a message. Let's get together. Let's talk. If there's any way I can be of value outside of course, this podcast, please let me know. I'd love to be that for you. So until next time, stay safe, be safe, and be aggressive on your goal. See you soon.